Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about things that we are scared of, we're afraid of. I feel like everyone in the world has a fear of some kind, and it may be big, it may be small, could be serious, could be irrational. I would say everyone has a little bit of both, actually. Real fear of actual things that could cause you harm, and then more of kind of the irrational thing of things that you're like, well, I really know that's probably not a big deal, but I'm still scared of it. And there's so many things on the list for people. People are afraid of the dentist, of public speaking, of weather, of I don't know, anything in public with like meeting people you never met before, talking on the phone, interacting with people. That can be a real biggie. Actually, probably one of the number one fears that there is public speaking, that interaction. And I could that's way down on my list. I could care less about that. I thought we could start by talking about some of the fears that are somewhat irrational, and then talk about some fears that are less irrational. It seems like we have mentioned this before in previous videos, maybe, but I don't think we ever made a video dedicated to, these are some things that I'm flipped out about, want to hear them. Yeah, I don't think, and if we mentioned it, it's been a long time ago, and we're always getting new subscribers here, new viewers, and we appreciate that, so we want to talk to you today about what scares us. Yeah, so we can find out what you're scared of, and hopefully what we mentioned doesn't activate any new fears for you. Yeah. Like if you're like, oh no, I don't even want to watch this video, I'm going to find out something new I'm scared of. Probably not, because when you find out what I'm scared of, everybody's probably going to unsubscribe because they're going to think I'm an idiot. So, number one. You have to comment below though and tell us what you're afraid of. Number one for me, and I'm not obviously anymore, I used to be afraid of cats. Oh my gosh, I was so scared of cats. Like, yeah, to a level that wasn't normal and was actually pretty pathetic. We used to go to this lady who did photography, took photos. And you know when you're kiddos, that's what you do. Like every couple years, they take the kids and get you dressed up and take your pictures, family pictures, you know, even like little special things where you'd pose and look old-timey, things like that. So we went to this really nice lady who had a studio in town in a second-story building. And we would go upstairs into her photography studio, and she had a cat. She had a tabby cat who was actually incredibly friendly and just wanted to be petted, so the cat would come up to you constantly. I would run around the studio, climb furniture, try to climb Mom's head, like lock myself in the bathroom. It was horrible. I don't know why, but I just remember being like more afraid of that cat than I've ever been of anything in my entire life. I was just literally terrified of cats. And I spent most of my life, honestly, being scared of cats, of their teeth and their claws, and they're unpredictable, and I just really did not like cats until all of a sudden Binks come along, and now I'm no longer afraid of any cats. Now I actually like cats, and I see it's not that big of a deal. So I used to be a little bit afraid of cats, and I think it's just perhaps their personality is unpredictable. So even now, if Binks gets under my feet, looking behind me. I know, I'm like, he's here. He is here somewhere. He was. It's just the unpredictableness. They're not trying to hurt you. They just like to play, but they do have sharp claws. Yeah. So like the unpredictability of, are they gonna reach out? And it doesn't sneak up. And it's not even like it hurts. It's just the psychological aspect. I could be surprised any minute. So one thing that's irrational or slightly irrational that scares me, and this is probably one of the things maybe I'm the most afraid of. At least talking about things that are slightly irrational, not maybe in general. There's these bugs, and I don't know what they're called. I don't even like to think about them. I'm sure I could look them up, but I'm not going to because I don't want to see a picture. I have honestly only seen this kind of bug. Maybe I could count on one hand. It's like a centipede in the sense of it has lots of legs, and that's, I know, that's not even what scares me. To a spook town. What freaks me out is, like, it's tall. Oh, help. Help us! I was going to say, oh, help us! Oh, spooks me out. I don't like to think about it. So, I don't know why it looks like that, or why. You're just cracking me up now. You just threw me. Oh, gosh. They spook me out. I'm thinking about them too. And when you said they're tall, oh my gosh, it's the height. That's freaky. It's both. So, it's almost like a cross between like a spider and a centipede. I just can't. I'm not sure what they are. We have them here, but I only seen one time at my old house, one time at a place that I worked at close to here, and then one in Michigan, which is really random. That's strange. But I don't like them. There's something about them that freaks me out. There's a lot of people who are afraid of snakes, spiders, different stuff. Spiders freak me out some, but not like these bugs. Something about these bugs, it just
it gives you the actual reaction of your skin crawling. So, slightly irrational, but
Spooktown.
those really freak me out.
Speaking of bugs, another one of my irrational fears. Now, I don't care about most spiders. The shiny spiders, though, no. No. I don't do spiders that are slick and shiny. That's just not good. That just, like, fries my brain. I don't care for the big wolf spiders. I don't care because they're furry. I'm thinking about furry critters like mammals. I'm thinking about, like, bears and wolves and deer and chipmunks, things with fur, and that's not freaking me out. I don't care about the wolfies. I'll deal with them all day long. They just don't bother me. I just don't care about it. I just don't care. But them, it's the shiny spiders that just, oh gosh, it's just not good.
They're more menacing looking. Even the wolf spiders, they're big,
and they're muscular and they can jump.
Yeah, but they're, yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's the disproportionate. Any spider that's body is disproportionate to the rest of it, I don't like, and I will kill. I'm sorry, but I will kill. I will go out of my way and seek them and kill them. Not the wolfies, not any other kind, but the disproportionate ones, no.
And if they're in your house, I mean, A, you don't want them on your baby. B, you don't want them on yourself. Yeah.
It's just the disproportionate ones is always making me think about black widows. That's all I can think about. And we do have them in this area. There's plenty of them. They're here. It's not like they're not here. I've seen them.
We don't see them all that often, but they're definitely here.
I'm just getting upset.
I know, we gotta move on.
Okay, moving on to the next thing.
Another irrational fear. I know we've mentioned this on the channel, and I don't want to talk a lot about it because it's freaky, but it's irrational. We both, maybe me more than Katie, have an issue with certain textures. And other people, I know other people have this too. I think, is it tryptophobia, something?
I'll take the shiny spiders all day long over that.
Yeah, there's just something about it. It's not everything, but it's like seed pods or something like that. I don't really know why, but we've always been like that. Like, I can look at that and actually, I don't know, like, it makes me like break out in a sweat.
Yeah, it's
that
freak town.
Sounds so stupid and so strange, but there's just certain textures that I'm like, nope, I don't like to look at that.
Yeah, I don't like that. I really don't. And these are all like psychological things that are not cool, but will not harm you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's nothing that could get
they're
you.
Basically irrational.
Yeah, they are. And I'm like, listen to me. I can just talk about it. And I'm like,
I know. Yeah, see, I'm the same. I'm
like freaked out.
I don't want to talk about that, or my skin feels like it's crawling.
Okay, so something else that's totally irrational, and Corey told me she used to be afraid of this, and everybody's gonna laugh, but it's not funny because I don't like it either. I don't do Muppets, okay? I don't do puppets, I don't do Muppets, I don't do claymation, I don't do weird, freaky little cartoons, I don't do none of that crap. I don't like it. It spooks me out. Why would you do that? Like, why would you put your hand in a cloth puppet and talk weird and pretend to be, no.
Yeah, I don't know why, but the Muppets horrified me growing up, and I just never really. I'm not like scared of it now, but I just never.
I had a nightmare about the Muppets one time.
I did too.
And that's what did it for me.
I did too. That's probably, and that's kind of like clowns. Clowns don't really scare me though because
it just made me mad.
Yeah, and there in our area there was. It's been probably 8 years ago, because I think it was closer to the time I met Austin, and maybe even a little bit before. And there was someone who was dressing like a clown in this area, and I think that they killed a person or two. Do you remember that?
Yeah, they were like scaring people and crime. It was crime.
I remember Mom and Dad talking about that, and I was laying in the bed one night. I was so scared. There's gonna be a clown break into my house. There definitely was not, but
I remember that because I was like, let me tell you, you come to this house, that's a bad place to be. You're not going to leave. You come clowning around and goofing, doing your stuff. There's this video that circulates the internet, and it's somebody, I don't know where they were, but in their headlights, it's dark, so they're parked somewhere, and way out in their headlights, there's somebody dressed like a clown, doing weird stuff, and, canting their head sideways. And the meme is this person, they're just standing there like the driver got out, and their friend is filming them, and the driver's just standing there, and they're like, well, dude, what are you doing? And it's just like the clown's way out there, and all of a sudden the clown starts running at him, and that guy pulls a gun out. I really hope he didn't shoot the clown, but he does. He pulls a gun out, and it was like someone saying, the meme was like, clown is no match for friends Smith and Wesson, and I was just like, that was me when I thought there was a clown going around. I was like, that's okay, but I have something to show you that will probably stop you.
Yeah.
Smith and Wesson, my friends.
Yeah.
So those are more psychological, like,
Irrational.
yeah, things to be afraid of. One thing that I'm like super scared of, and honestly, this is just horrible. It's so bad, and it's the most irrational one yet. And I can't stop myself. It's toilets. I am terrified of toilets, y'all.
He's afraid of toilets.
It's mostly toilets overflowing. I'm just real scared of it. Like, if a toilet overflows, I'll run out and let the house flood because I'm like, I can have a baby, I can do anything, but I can't do flooding toilets. It's something about it and that's only ever happened like once or twice, and that water starts rising.
And I've tried to tell Katie, one time she called me, and this was when I lived at my old house. I mean, even if you called me now, I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying. I wasn't with you. And just, oh my gosh, in a panic over the toilet, I was like, Katie, all you have to do is look to one side of the toilet or the other, and there's a little valve, and you turn that, and it cuts the water off. That's all you have to do.
I know, but it's just...
And you were like freaked out. I'm like, just cut the water off.
But to do that, you have to get your head close to the toilet. I don't want my face close to the toilet. If I'm sick, I have to throw up, I'm going outside. I will do anything, but I don't want to be anywhere near a toilet. Other toilets, public toilets, I'll literally hold it until I'm like risking some sort of
I will say
damage.
Public restrooms is a slight fear for me, and I think we've both said this before, that even to this day, at least once a month, I will have a nightmare about a public restroom.
I have nightmares about toilets all night long. They're overflowing and they're nasty and they're everywhere, and I really gotta go, but I can't find one and I can't get home.
I've always had that dream, some kind of version of that.
When I was traveling out west with Donna and Michael, we were a long way from any type of civilization, and we come across a campground, and that was the one and only chance I had to go to the bathroom, and I passed it up. I said, I opened the door and saw the bathroom. I just couldn't.
I know. I will say though, I definitely have done that before, and it's.
I just carry toilet paper with me. I'll go outside. I'll find somewhere to go outside.
I remember having to stop at a gas station on the way back from the beach, and this was a very rough gas station, and I was with Austin, and the bathrooms were outside the gas station. So,
oh no!
So you know it's not going to be good. That bathroom was surprisingly way cleaner than I thought it would be, but I was very uncomfortable having to use that bathroom.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
it's just bad. What about you? What else are you scared of?
I don't know.
Irrational?
That's what I was trying to think. What other kind of irrational stuff?
I used to be afraid of being buried alive. Honest to goodness, it's so sad. It's actually so depressing. It's because I watched something. I think it was a Kill Bill movie, and I bet you I wasn't supposed to be in the room. And I ended that. This is the part. But she gets out. She digs herself out of that coffin. But I literally used to have this fear. Like, I can't even think about it. That I would wake up in a coffin. Like when I was probably like, I don't know, like 12 or something. And I would literally go to bed every night thinking, I'm gonna wake up in a coffin, and how would I get out? Like. It was bad. I was really afraid of it. And then I was like, but I went to sleep every night of my life for almost 28 years, and I've never woke up in a coffin. I don't know what got that in my head, but it was bad. I mean, I was okay until the sun went down, and then it was all over. It was not good.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was annoying for everybody else, because everyone was like, Katie, can I tell you over and over? That's not going to happen.
I just felt bad for you because we couldn't convince you. I was like, you're not going to end up like buried alive. I mean, someone would have to abduct you from the house, and we're all here. That's not going to happen.
True.
I'm trying to think, do I have any other irrational fears? Probably.
I'm thinking this video's proving that I'm a whole lot more irrational than you are, because I've listed like way too many. And you're like, I'm scared of the bugs and the Muppets. Moving on. And I'm like, and look, I'm holding stuff back. So.
That is funny. Should we talk about things that are more maybe universal that people are afraid of, that we're afraid of?
Yeah, go for it before we're losing credibility.
Yeah,
I know I am.
We better wrap this up. I'm not as afraid of the dentist anymore, but I know when I was a kid, I was slightly afraid of the dentist. I think that's normal for every kid. But then I went through a spell in I don't know, was I 18 or 20, maybe? To where I was just horrified of the dentist. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And I would say me and Katie both take really good care of our teeth, but I also believe that some people just, I don't know, genetically end up with problems. And so I take great care of my teeth, but I had some cavities that I had to have filled. And it was just about more than I could bear. Like, I was basically walking in there almost in tears, being like 20 years old. I do no longer have that fear. I think some of it was just exposure therapy, having to get some dental work done. But then there's a lot of things that I learned through that. But I still get nervous. I don't even like having my teeth cleaned, to be honest. And it's because I have sensitive teeth, and I've talked about that on the channel. And I go through spells on and off, and sometimes they get more sensitive than other times. But I don't think you're really afraid of the dentist.
Oh, I went through my spell though.
But
I
you
went
did.
through a stage of being afraid
Maybe
of the dentist
first
too.
before me.
I sure did. I was pretty much like you. Oh gosh, just Binks.
Just Binks.
I'm like real on edge. Bless my heart. Hello, Binky. I went through a spell where I was afraid of the dentist, but I eventually got over it, and I think probably what got me over it was getting my wisdom teeth out, because then every time I had to go back to the dentist, I was like, it ain't gonna be like that.
Right. Once you do that, that's, you know, one of the biggest like dental procedures that you can have done.
Yeah. Weather, I think bad weather, that's something to this day that still bothers me a little bit. It's just the unpredictability, you know, of you can watch the radar, you can do all that, but there's still stuff that they don't catch, and I'm not a real big fan of bad weather, and we do not have much of it here. There's only been about twice in like the last 80 years or so, I mean maybe 3 times, that a tornado actually even touched down here. Once was in the 70s, once was probably 10 or 12 years ago, and then apparently recently there was one that kind of touched down in Peachtree and did a little bit of damage, but that's not really something that ever happens here. But I'm like scared of bad weather.
And see, that's interesting to me, because that I think is a very normal fear, but it's not.
No, quit.
Bangs.
He's after your feet.
I know.
Because
I
you
was
moved your
moving
feet.
them. I'll try to keep my feet still.
I pulled your tail, didn't I?
But it's interesting because I'm not really afraid of weather, but we grew up, I mean, experiencing the same weather, but somehow, I remember, surely it hadn't been 10 or 12 years,
Banks
surely it
quit.
hadn't been, speaking of being afraid, not afraid, it's just the psychological aspect of knowing he's under there and gonna biff me at any second. I can't stand it.
Let me find something for you.
But
Here's him a stick.
when was that? Several years ago, and I was laying on the couch.
Quit!
And
I have to get run off.
I think Dad specifically told me not to go to sleep in case we needed to go to the basement, and I just laid down on the couch and fell asleep. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock, and y'all went out on the porch and said you could actually like see, like distantly in the sky, the nadir.
Yeah, it was
And
a
I was
funnel.
asleep on the couch.
And every time it lightened, it would be in a different place. That was almost 10 years ago. I think I was like 15 or 16. So actually, I think it was over 10 years ago.
That is crazy.
Bad weather. That's something that people really do have to worry about. Places like Oklahoma, Iowa,
Lord,
Kansas City. I mean, you know, this whole Nader Alley thing.
Yeah, and that's a common fear for good reason.
No, gosh, yeah. I was talking to my friend Rachel. Hey, Rachel. And she lives in Oklahoma, and she said that where they live, they've never actually had a tornado touch down, but there was one that come through there just a couple weeks ago, really did some damage, and I think it was pretty close. Like, not pretty close, but like closer to where they are than one's ever been before. When I was traveling with Donna and Michael, I made them drive through the entire state of Oklahoma, and one day I said, please don't stop, because it was actually tornado season, and then come to find out later on, it's a good thing we had kept a track through there, because there actually was some pretty severe weather coming behind us. So we were actually super lucky that we just went ahead and went on and didn't stop.
I think you did some videos about, we did videos about your trip out west, so we'll leave that in the description.
That's right.
What else? To that. Another thing,
Such weather.
probably maybe like the 2 biggest ones that I can think of, and I think this is probably universal, would be losing a loved one, you know, losing a friend, even losing a pet, and then sickness, you know, getting some kind of terminal illness, your loved one getting a terminal illness. That's probably, if I had to say, like,
Very valid.
biggest fear. Probably my biggest fear is losing you.
Aww.
And my family, of course. But, you know, my husband or my parents, but being a twin, that if I had to really, I guess maybe boil it down to one fear, maybe it would be that.
That'd probably be my biggest fear, is Ira and you.
Yeah, of course, your child.
And that's something I'm like, you don't know what fear is until you have a baby, and then you're like, oh gosh, you know, that, like, oh my Lord, I wouldn't want nothing to happen. And my cousin's baby has had a little bit, he's okay, but he's had some health problems, so you have to pray for him. He's a little, not much, a little younger than Ira, and had some health concerns going on, and he's going to be okay, but nobody wants to see their child
No.
suffer, so you have to keep praying for him,
Yeah.
and hopefully he'll get some of his little health problems worked out, and he'll be able to gain some weight and feel better, because he's still just been kind of sickly, and that just happens with some babies. One fear I would say I don't have now, but I did have not that long ago, was childbirth. Having a baby, that's a real fear. That's valid. But once you've done it once, then you're like, okay, well, I'm not scared anymore, because you've already been through it. It's like going to the dentist. You do it enough times, and you're not scared anymore, because you know what to expect.
Yeah, I would say for me, and probably for a lot of people, probably for you too, a lot of fear is just anticipation. It's just anticipation. It's just the uncertainty, like the unknown of something. And then most of the time, once you go through something, whether it's going to the dentist, having a baby, something like that, and you come out on the other side of it, you're like, well, okay, maybe that was hard, but not as hard as I thought it would be.
Most of fear is fear itself. It's in your head.
Oh, it is, absolutely. And lastly, to wrap this up, you definitely have to comment and let us know if you have any of these fears, or if you think some of ours are silly, because I know they probably are. But of course, we know too that many times in the Bible it tells us to fear not, because God is with us, and so that's the main thing.
It's our biggest weapon against fear. We know that we don't have to be afraid.
Right, because we've got God. We can't end
exactly
this video
right.
without saying
That's right. And whether it's big or small, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the fear is. If it's irrational, irrational,
Right.
you can
God
always
can
take
help
it.
you with
oh
it,
yeah.
yeah.
You take it to God, and He will. In the Bible it tells us God's already overcome the world, and it's so crazy to think that from the very beginning, in the beginning there was God. And in the Bible it tells us there was darkness over the face of the deep. So the earth wasn't even here yet. Nothing was created. Creation hadn't started, but He was there. Mm-hmm. And He was just chilling and hanging. And it tells us that Jesus was there too. That He was already there. So it's amazing to think that God already had this whole entire plan. He knew how creation was going to go. He even had a fail-safe. He had a plan to save us from ourselves, which was Christ. So this very idea of Him being the answer and the solution for fear, of course He is, because He knew everything that was going to happen, every one of us that would have a fear or have a concern, and His ultimate weapon against that is Jesus, is of course Himself, but sending His Son. That's our physical ultimate weapon that we can actually hold on to and claim, His crucifixion and resurrection against our own fear, no matter what it is. And God He ain't sitting up there saying, that's stupid, Katie. You ought not to be afraid of toilets. If I'm genuinely afraid, well, all right then, I'm afraid. And He understands that. Absolutely. So whatever you're afraid of, big or small, He understands that too, and He wants to help you.
Absolutely. We can't talk about fear without mentioning that.
And I want to help myself not be afraid of toilets.
Yeah. So comment below any tips for Katie to not be afraid of toilets.
I should just go take what would you say, gen ed plumbing class, and then maybe I wouldn't be so afraid of toilets. Anyway,
okay, guess we better wrap this up.
Yeah.
I'm getting hot.
Ira's been sleeping, and I'm hoping he's still sleeping. I got Grandpa on Papaw duty, so if he's not sleeping, it's Papaw's responsibility for right now. And yeah, we'll just we'll mosey on out of here. If Corey is afraid of childbirth, here not too long, hopefully you'll be able to say, check that fear off the list.
Oh yeah, I'll be honest that I'm a little nervous, but I can't say that I'm just really afraid. I just don't. I have a lot of peace, and I attribute that all to God. I've prayed a lot, and there's so many people who have said that they're praying for me and the baby, and that just means so much. I just can't thank you enough for that. I feel them. I feel those prayers.
Amen.
I think that's why I'm able to stay peaceful, and
oh, absolutely.
so definitely excited.
Well, we'll get off here. This isn't exactly how I thought this video would go. I feel like I'm looking like
I think
more of a big idiot than what I thought I would. But listen, I can't help
better
it.
than I thought it would go.
I can't help it. Toilets upset me, and shiny spiders upset me. If I could just get all the shiny spiders and put them in the toilet, call that done.
You just never know when you turn the camera on how the video is going to turn out. You can plan it down to every word, and you still don't know how it's going to go.
No. Sometimes I get in front of the camera and I'm like, why am I so stupid?
No.
And then other times I'm like, I don't know, that's not bad. I sound somewhat legit. At least I'm honest. I tell you what, I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you toilets don't scare me. And that, the shiny spiders don't scare me. And the naders, I don't go for that. But
spiders, toilets, and naders. Let us know if any of those scare you. And we'll get off here.
Yeah.
As always, thank you for watching. God bless you. God keep you. And
we'll catch you at the next one.
See you on the next one.
Bye.
Ooh, I'm sweating to death.
I'm not.